Welcome to the interview. I'm Susan Lee MacDonald. This is Times Square in Seoul, one of the largest shopping malls in Asia. And I'm headed to the Pop Art Hall to meet today's very special guest, none other than Woody Pak, the acclaimed composer and producer. He's putting on a show here called High Kick, and I can't wait to go see him. Internationally renowned composer, director, and musician Woody Pak. From childhood, Korean-American Woody Pak, the musician and composer extraordinaire, followed his passion for music, which led him to pursue music at MIT and on to Julliard. Woody has been highly praised for his work with a plethora of famous films and soundtracks, such as Miss Monday, which won an accolade at the Sundance Film Festival, and an international documentary film, Planet B-Boys. Acclaimed with his off-Broadway rock musical Making Tracks, Woody cemented his star music director status and is currently working with some of the best in the industry who can't get enough of the hip and uber-talented composer. The Interview meets Woody in Seoul and also makes a visit to his Los Angeles studio Chaos Theory in this week's show. A truly extraordinary musician, composer, and director. Meet the one and only Woody Pak. Woody?
Susan, hey, how are you?
So great to see you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
My pleasure.
Oh my goodness. So is everything going well?
Yeah, a lot of preparation, a lot of work, but you know, we're up and running and you know, we're excited about the show.
Wow, this is so exciting. So this is the show, yes?
Yeah, High Kick. It's a sports musical based around soccer, as you can see, and a lot of fun for family.
Oh,
sure.
I can't wait to go see your show.
Oh, well, I'm glad you could make it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we are going to do the interview with you. So that'll be before the show.
Great.
Yeah?
Okay. Should we go to the theater?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Take you upstairs.
wonderful.
Come on in. Here's the theater.
Thank you. Ooh.
Wow. Oh, all this staff here.
This is all for you.
Oh, thank you.
So this is where
Welcome.
High Tech is doing its performance.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I love being on stage here.
Oh, well, I think you want to do a jig or, hey, yeah, you're performing. Hey! Yeah.
Hey!
So, yeah, this is the theater where High Kick is.
Oh, nice. I feel like I need to do a high kick.
Yeah, do a, oh, I can't remember. But, oh, you're not wearing a dress, so let's see, can you do a nice kick? Oh, ooh, straight lines.
There you go.
Good, very good. Bravo.
Maybe we should do like a can together.
Oh, okay. Dun, 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 dun. Okay.
Yay.
Tired.
Okay, time to sit down. Woody, thank you so much for inviting me up on stage.
Oh, thank you for coming to my theater.
It's an amazing honor to have you on our show. So thank you so much again. Just a renowned composer, and I have so many things that I'd like to ask you. But first of all, what brings you to Korea this time?
So we're here in a theater for the show I composed called High Kick.
Okay.
It's a non-verbal sports musical and centers around soccer, the world's favorite sport except for the US.
Absolutely, Korea's arguably most favorite sport.
Yeah. And so it's been about a year since we did the first incarnation of the show. And then now we're doing through another round of revisions and preparing for the Fringe Festival in Scotland, Edinburgh.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, we're really excited.
So what are you doing in preparation to go to Edinburgh?
So for 10 days we have the High Kick shows going on to work in the new ideas and refine the show and just make it really smooth and work out all the kinks and everything like that.
That's exciting.
So we're really excited. It's working out really great.
Wow. I'd love to hear a lot more about High Kick.
Sure.
Tell me about how you got involved. I personally love a lot of nonverbal performances. I love Stomp, I love Manta and the like.
Shows,
Yes. And how did you get involved with High Kick?
Well, it's a very interesting story. My sister-in-law was friends with one of the company managers of High Kick last year.
Okay.
So last year I got a call from the company manager who happened to have one of my CDs from like 5 years prior. And it just, her iPod was on random just while they're warming up, and or stretching and stuff like that. And the director heard something of mine and was like, "Hey, what's that? I really like that."
Huh.
And then, so they were right in the middle of choosing composers, or they had chosen somebody already, but I think they wanted to see if I'd be interested in participating.
What great fortune.
Yeah, yeah, it was just like...
So random.
Yeah, totally. And they were friends in New York.
Uh-huh.
And so she had moved back to Korea, and then 5 years later, you know, I happened to be there. So she called me, and, you know, there was a room in my schedule, and I said, sure, I'll come out. And, you know, I saw it as a great opportunity to see what Korea would also be like, working-wise, professionally. Yeah, so that was kind of the beginnings, and then it's kind of opened a lot of doors to other things out here. Yeah.
So walk me through High Kick. Like, what happens in High Kick?
So the story has evolved quite a bit, but for our show now, it's basically it starts with a sort of friendly rivalry between a really good soccer team and then a really not so good soccer team.
A non-verbal performance musical, High Kick, is about a soccer team of a bunch of misfits striving for its first win. With powerful choreography and Woody's dynamic score, the venue brings the very excitement of a real soccer field. Audience participation makes this an even more enjoyable show. High Kick will be kicked off at the Edinburgh Festival in August for 26 days.
너무 재밌었고요. 사건 게임에 대해서, 그러니까 축구에 대해서 아이들이 잘 모르고 있었는데 오늘 동작 하나하나 보면서 얘들 많이 웃더라고요.
오늘 공연 매우 좋았고요. 나중에 애기가 태어나게 되면 다시 한번 보고 싶습니다.
The show has garnered much interest for its artistry and entertainment value, and we expect that High Kick will continue to be a success and thrill audiences worldwide. What were some challenges in doing High Kick?
Well, a lot of challenges were my being in the States first, trying to initiate the work from there.
I see.
But we quickly figured out that I had to be here kind of in the rehearsals with the actors, and I really wanted to actually participate in some of their training, like some gymnastics training.
Do you do gymnastics?
I can do a handstand,
Oh.
do some flips and things like that. So, but I wanted to know where.
I'd love to see.
Oh, sure. You know,
Okay.
hey, like that.
Yay!
But, anyway, so.
Hey, shake! Yay!
Yeah,
This is our, you know, if you do something awesome, I'll shake this.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But that was really fun, you know, and also because, you know, being in theater, it's a real community, and you have relationships, and it's really different than having been like doing films and commercials. You really don't need to be around anybody. You're just inside your studio. So I wanted to. It was nice to be around people that were alive and responding, and so I wanted to be involved with their process and appreciate where they're coming, because I felt that would translate into you know, what the music was like, because I wanted to understand, you know, how they felt juggling a soccer ball and jumping around and, you know, doing those kinds of things.
So having some kind of tactile experience gives you more insight into what kind of music you should create.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, you can do it from a really abstract place, but I wanted to, because I did know that the show was going to be really rhythmic, you know, because it's a lot of energy and movement and stuff, and I wanted to be really in tune with what they were experiencing firsthand. Yeah. So the other challenges were obviously the language. You know, I couldn't speak. I still don't speak Korean very well. I'm learning, but you know what I realize in Korea and really anywhere, the relationships you have with people, the trust you build up through just your discourse was really important. So that was challenging, but we got over it because they saw I was committed to sharing their pain.
Yes.
You know, and being there every day with them in the trenches. And the other challenge, of course, was, you know, being kind of a perfectionist and wanting to make the music right. You know, I had to kind of figure out, you know, what do I have to do? There's so much music you can make, so many different kinds of styles. I mean, I think any composer or writer or painter will have this experience where you have a blank page in front of you, and what do you do? What do I do? I mean, so, but once you get started, and then once you kind of know it's the right thing, then things start to flow really quickly.
As a composer now, you can actually feel like you have arrived.
Okay, thank you.
You have arrived, I am telling you now.
Okay.
And many people, when they listen to your music, they say that it's just dynamic. They really feel it. And it's amazing that not only can you do so many different genres of music composition, but that it's actually good.
Hope so.
And it's not just my opinion. I think that a lot of the reviews of your music has been really sensational, and I just wonder, how does that make you feel?
Feels great. I mean, I'm naturally, I don't have a very high self-esteem. I think a lot of artists and composers, because, you know, when you know what the masters have done, you know what's good, you know, how can you compare yourself to Mozart or Beethoven or something? But thank you, I really appreciate that. I mean, I think at some point also, you know, I do it because I almost don't have a choice. You know, like...
What do you mean?
Like, you know, I feel like music chose me. There's some sort of inevitability to it all when I look back, that I didn't really have that much control in being where I am now. And I certainly didn't expect it going in. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like I definitely don't do it for fame. I'm glad I can make a living out of it. So I feel like I just have to bring as much integrity and honesty to it, and if it manifests itself as dynamic and moving people, then I'm very happy, you know, because it's coming from that place from me. So I'm glad that it translates in that way to you and others.
With your work as a composer, I imagine that there are times where, as you said, you're a perfectionist, that you've written something and you just totally don't like it. What do you do with that music?
I put it into my music library and let other people like pick it out if they want. Well, sometimes, yeah, you just have to deal with that. Sometimes you do something you don't like, and your client or a project, they were like, hey, that's great. So it's kind of confusing, because if you're working for someone for some project and they like it, well, like, okay, sure. But my hope is that whatever I release, I'm okay with it too. I mean, ideally I shouldn't let something go that I don't like or believe in. Because, you know, for me, it didn't come from the most sincere place. But, you know, obviously there's a lot of stuff that has gone out which I wasn't particularly fond of, but I've had to let it go for whatever reason.
If you had to choose one of your most favorite compositions and one of your least compositions, what would they be?
One of my favorites, it's actually on my CD, called Awakenings. It's like a 9-minute piece, completely indulgent as a composer. You know, I could do it as long as I wanted to. It wasn't for a particular thing, so for me that was a great freedom. It represented a lot of freedom, and just I got to express what I wanted to express. So that's one of my favorite pieces. Probably one of my least favorites are like these very generic pieces. It's like a light orchestra, light motif kind of thing, which it gets used a lot for different sort of music production library purposes. But for me, I cringe, like, because it's like, yeah, it's just so, I guess, cheesy. So those are, when I have pieces like that, you do out of necessity, but they somehow still make it out to the public. I don't like announce that I've done them. They're just out there.
So is it like elevator?
To me, music is essential. I can't imagine not making music, not hearing music, and not having music in the world. It's just an essential part of my life and everyone's life. Well, music chose me, I feel. And if I'm not making music, then I'm not fulfilling the gifts that were given to me. And so I feel like I almost have an obligation to be involved and to be creating new music.
I'd love to talk about you. more and ask you about how you got to become a composer. What has happened in your life to bring you here today? You were born in the States, second generation Korean American, yes? And your father is a novelist, and you were born in Los Angeles, or
I was born in Oakland.
In Oakland, okay. So walk me through your childhood.
I was born in Oakland, California, while my dad was a postdoc at Berkeley. And then shortly after, we moved to Hawaii.
Okay.
And then shortly after that, he got a divorce. I was maybe like a year old.
Oh, okay.
I was shipped to Korea with my grandmother, and then I came back, and he was remarried. But they divorced about a year later again. And then 5 years later, he remarried to my stepmom,
I see.
Who he's actually still with. So that was, and I have a little brother from that as well. So I think that was actually very formative for me, kind of not having a mother figure, and then having a mother figure that was really strict. But
that must have been very difficult for you. I mean, at age 1, to be separated from your mother is really traumatic. How did that happen? And you were sent to Korea?
Yes. No. I'm glad I can't remember it. But yeah, I mean, you know, my father had dalliances, and you know that led to just a very unstable home life. So, but he always maintained custody of us ultimately. But yeah, so I think that definitely has shaped the way I am with women. No, I was kidding. Not having a mother, always wanting a mother figure. But no, that definitely has shaped me, I think, emotionally, and you know, you feel like maybe some abandonment. You know, so I think music is always a way to kind of explore that that issue, you know, that's within me. It'll be with me for the rest of my life. But yeah, I mean, but my current stepmother, she, and I call her mom, she raised me. She was a musician, a church musician, and she's the one who pushed me really hard in music.
Really?
So I really have her to thank for any kind of discipline and my foundation musically was really due to her.
So once your father remarried to your stepmom, and you call her mom, what was one of the first things that she did musically with you?
She spanked me a lot.
A rhythmic spanking? Or?
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, she really instituted like regular practice. You know, like my friends would be like, "How come you can't come out and play?" Because I have to practice for 2 hours. And
like the tiger mom.
Yeah, but it was like, you know, I was like this wild kid that, you know, she had to come and train. And so there was a lot of conflict and a lot of tears, and I had a very negative experience, I think, with music at first, for the first maybe 1 or 2 years. They finally were like, all right, we're going to give up on violin and piano. What do you want to do? And I was like, well, I want to be a rock star. I want to play guitar.
Yeah.
And so, like, Elvis Presley was my first big influence.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah. And but they said, okay, you can do that, but you have to play classical guitar. You know, so I was like, all right, and I enjoyed it. You know, because the compromise was I get to do my rock stuff on the side. So
when did you start with your guitar playing then?
Probably 9 or 10.
Oh, quite young.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it was just a really good foundation to have, and it was because I enjoyed it personally, and I taught myself a lot of stuff, and I made myself practice. They never, at that point, they never made me practice. So, so that was good. I mean, I feel like that really helped define me as a musician from that stage.
Did you join bands when you were in junior high or high school too?
Yeah, junior high. Yeah, I did some talent shows. In high school, we did just got some friends together. But in high school, I started to take the classical guitar really seriously.
Oh.
Like, so after my freshman year, I just started playing like 8 hours a day.
8 hours a day?
Yeah, because there was this competition coming up, and I felt like, wow, I haven't really taking it really seriously. So I'm gonna catch up and like, you know, just try to be really as good as I can.
Wow.
So,
I mean, can your fingers actually function after 8 hours of guitar playing?
barely. Like it really, you know, you bleed a little,
Yeah.
the skin would crack and stuff, and you always need your nails, so they would crack, and but it coincided with, you know, a stage where I wanted to like academically succeed, you know, because I was starting to feel the pressure like in freshman year of college and getting good grades and having your extracurricular activities.
So when you were 14, were you in Hawaii still, or had you moved?
I moved to Orange County,
Okay.
California. Yeah, my dad, he didn't feel like we would graduate from high school if we remained in Hawaii. And there's a lot of truth to that. So one summer we visited Orange County, and then he suddenly told us, "You're not going back." And I was really upset about that.
When you went to Orange County and you started practicing all the time and applied to schools, did you want to study music in college? Is that what you were hoping to do?
Not really. I mean, you know, if I happen to continue the avocation, the interest in it, that'd be cool. But I was planning on being like pre-med and applying to med school and, you know, or doing something of that nature.
So did you apply to all the standard like Ivies?
The
and all that?
Ivies and the UCs, and I got into a good number of them, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know what would happen when I graduated at all. I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Well, not so shabby for you to go to MIT.
Well, my sister was there,
Okay.
and then my parents wanted to move to Boston. I don't know why, but we were like, okay, thanks. And then my little brother ended up going there, so all of us went to that school. It's a great school, and I think surprisingly, I was surprised to find what a vibrant musical community it has.
Really, yeah.
And really high quality teachers and the media lab. Yeah, that's kind of where I began to see music as something that could possibly happen. I mean, in very small steps, I started leaning in that direction.
After MIT, you went to Julliard, yes?
Yeah, it was really cool, and I pushed myself for a little bit to get in. I'm not the poster child for being a good student at
Why do
MIT
you say that?
or Julliard, because I was like, wow, you know, you really don't have to have perfect attendance. And then so I was like, oh, I took that to the extreme limit, to the point of almost getting kicked out of my schools. So kids, don't do what I did. Use your tuition as good as you can. But you know, I think for me, I think that I was, in hindsight, I knew that I was kind of looking beyond what they could offer, or beyond what I was looking. Yeah, just I was always looking for something different than where I was, which is probably sort of foolish, not really appreciating my surroundings.
Well, I think that happens to a lot of college students or even grad school students. I know when I was going to school, I also started pre-med.
Right.
Then I took some other classes, and I knew that I enjoyed the classes, but being in New York City, it was just so much fun to be in New York City.
Right.
Like, who wants to be sitting in class?
Absolutely.
So, so I don't think it's that unusual to not know exactly the direction,
Right.
but it seems like you really followed your heart.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, music, I think, chose me. You know, I don't like have my 5-year plan, my 3-month plan, you know, I'm not that kind of person, so, but, you know, in hindsight, again, I see, like, there's a steady progression toward, and painting myself into a corner at some point, like even like 5 years ago, I was like, well, I can't really do anything else, so I'm just gonna stay in this where I am. But yeah, I mean, my parents were extremely supportive.
Even with all that support from your family, you said that sometimes you have some self-doubt, suffer from a little low self-esteem. Looking at you, I would never guess that you were anything but confident. I mean, you're very humble, but you don't strike me as someone who has any insecurity.
I've learned to hide it very well.
You're a good actor.
Yes. Well, I think, you know, it's interesting, like one of our prior conversations before the show, like, it's almost like if you know too much, you almost can't do anything because you realize how little you are compared to the greats out there, you know. So for me, sometimes those bouts of lack of confidence and things like that is almost because I'm overthinking, and you just see and compare yourself to everything else out there. So I think it's probably something that will never end, like that battle of low self-esteem, lack of confidence, and insecurities. You're always going to deal with it, but I feel like I'm definitely in a better place where, you know, I accept who I am, my limitations, which are many, but I realize that those limitations and whatever I feel like I lack are what make what I do unique and what make it me. So, and it's taken maybe most of my 30s to get to that comfortable place and accept myself.
Where do you think that comes from? Are you just normally hard on yourself, or? Yeah,
I'm extremely hard on myself. I think part of it was the way I was raised. When my dad remarried, you know, my mom now, she was very young, like 20 years younger than him, straight from Korea. So culturally, we had a lot of trouble even speaking to each other.
I see.
And so she kind of brought a lot of old school Korean style disciplinary, corporal punishment, and then just also her frustration of our not being able to really communicate. I think that really took a toll on me. You know, I mean, it's all good now, water under the bridge. But I feel like that early kind of harsh discipline kind of set the tone for how I regarded myself, which was probably in a very, like, you know, I'm not any good at anything kind of thing because I couldn't live up to a certain standard. And, you know, and also I think, but, you know, on the flip side, you know, I feel like for exactly the reasons which are that I have this kind of, you know, insecurity issues, that's what has helped me and produce the kind of music that I have, you know, so. You
push yourself more because of that?
Yeah, I think so, and I doubt myself a lot, but that doubt kind of fuels the desire to work hard and try to find what it is that that I'm trying to do and feel good about it. So I think there's always going to be this tension within me, and that's just who I am, and I have to accept it, but, you know, now I'm able to positively turn that into something productive and positive, and a way to do some quality control also. You know, you don't ever want to, I don't think I'll really have a problem of resting on my laurels, because I'm smart enough to know that, you know, there are many other talented people that can do just what I do just fine.
Ever wonder how a true professional composes music? Knock knock.
Oh, hey! Hey, Susan.
Hi, Woody.
Welcome to LA.
Oh, thank you. So great to see you again. Wow, I love your studio.
Oh,
it's
great.
So cool.
Come on in. Hey, why don't you grab a chair?
Oh,
come on in now.
Sounds great.
I can show you some of the things I've been working on today.
Yeah, so this is what it's like to be big time.
Well, yeah, it's...
So what type of video are you working with today?
So this one is for a company called Care Fusion. They're trying to promote, you know, teamwork and then also promote the company and what they do. And so it's interesting, you know, one of the things they told me was they wanted it to not necessarily be that happy.
Okay.
So I kind of, you know, I started off with this start with a kind of a minor chord going to major. So I'll just, when I sketch it, you know.
My name is Eric Brennan, and I work at Care Fusion.
You'll see kind of thing. So what I start doing is this. You know, I'm just kind of fool around and try to see, you know, how does that fit? And that's where you start to add like these different instruments. So for example, this instrument is like a bass. So here, you know, here where I added it over here.
What they actually need
it's gonna start.
By using our products, it is going to save time for.
So all of this music that we hear is just created from your studio here then?
Yeah, I'm just kind of here watching and seeing what's appropriate to enhance, to enhance the story that they're trying to tell.
Gotcha.
There's a snare.
This is really cool.
And then here's like a drum beat here.
And it's this progressively big build-up.
Right. Even like a little cello at the end, just a kind of.
That is
span of time.
really, really cool.
Oh, cool.
I wonder too, do you do your own guitar kind of solos for any of these?
Yeah. When the need arises, definitely. Yeah. Or else, you can just get the guitar inside the computer itself.
Well, given that you are a classically trained guitarist, I would love to see
Oh, sure.
you sing or maybe just do the guitar for me.
I can play a little bit of something for you.
Oh, so many guitars there.
Oh, well, I'll just play the most simple one,
Okay.
my classical guitar. Just. I'm inspired to make music by a good story. I think that's what motivates the creative impulses within me. So whether it's a film, whether it's a musical, even a commercial, a good story or a reason or an intention or motivation is what can kind of start to bring out musical ideas. And if it's a great story, then really wonderful ideas come out. And if it's an inspiring idea, then that can just motivate me to go to the studio right away and make something because of that inspiration. So I thought it'd be interesting if we switched seats here and then you actually made some music.
Oh, really?
Just to kind of demonstrate how the technology's come so far, where I think the average person can actually make something pretty decent.
Well, then let me have at it then.
Sit in the captain's chair.
Yeah, let some of this energy come my way and I'll make some cool songs.
So click over here to grand piano.
All right.
Okay, and why don't you play something? Okay, play that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is take it from the beginning. Let the beat get used to the beat, and then play exactly that in time. To on bar 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay, stop. And now let's look for, let's say, strings. Press strings.
Strings are, there we go.
I'll click something, let's see what it sounds like. You can click anything.
Fear strings,
Sure.
what's that?
I don't know. Oh, that might work. You can drag that over to a track here. Audio track, yep.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, put that and then press spacebar. Yep. Let's see what your creative juices has.
Now, if you actually use this, I'll give it to you for free.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
just saying,
Okay. No, I mean, you get full credit.
Any, words with this,
Yeah, for sure. So now that little string part's coming in. Let's see how it fits in. Wow, that's interesting. Whoa.
Oh, thank you so much for showing me this.
Of course.
Wow, who knew? Just sitting in this chair, I think, let some of your kind of energy flow into me. And I was channeling a little bit of you.
Oh, well, great. Whatever I can do to help.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
speaking of music, I'd love to go over the body of work that you've done.
Okay.
You've done musicals, you've done soundtracks. Miss Monday, how did you get involved in Miss Monday, and tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I met the director, Benson Lee, at, I think my sister was holding like a Christmas party in New York, and the director, Benson, came in, and it was like, people introduced us, and then it just started like a wonderful lifelong friendship. You know, we're super, really close friends right now. Yeah, I mean, and he had done this film in England, and it was this really intense film about a really disturbing woman named Miss Monday. Miss Monday was a term given to people, women with eating disorders, and because they're always like, on Monday, I'm totally not going to, you know, binge again, and you know, whatever. They're always promising themselves on the following Monday, I'm going to like stop this kind of thing.
Wow.
So, because you know, this Miss Monday is about this woman who's corporate finance, you know, really power player woman, but in secret, she's like, she has this eating disorder, and she's like totally screwed up emotionally. But that's just from inside her house. You don't, you get this interesting perspective from someone who snuck in and watches her. But yeah, it was a really wonderful experience. It was kind of first time I did like a very dark kind of narrative movie that has very disturbing scenes in it, and so I got to explore the dark side. You know? Yeah, and Benson's a really wonderful director, and he was always pushing to try to you know, get to, you gotta go there. I'm like, where? There. And so we've had these conversations where it was very abstract, but then you know, we really got it. And
so did you also have to develop an eating disorder to be able to get
absolutely.
the music
so,
right?
I mean, I mean, no, yeah, but it made me appreciate like what these women go through. I mean, the movie's not about eating disorders, but that's just one aspect of how disturbed this woman is. There's a great actress, and she actually vomited on camera. Like,
oh my
it's
goodness!
a real thing, yeah.
Wow.
So it's pretty intense. It was a really for a first feature film, is really incredible.
Wow. And then we have E-Dreams, Grassroots Rising, Planet B-Boy, and so on and so forth. Of the movie soundtracks that you've done, what would be the most interesting for you to?
Well, one of the most interesting and challenging was definitely Planet B-Boy. I was probably the last person I would think, and again, Benson Lee directed that I would be called upon to participate in that, because I'm not really like a hip hop person, and like the temp score, you know, the score that they use, like James Brown, and just the most expensive possible music to use in a film. It's all hip hop stuff, you know. But being a filmmaker, a narrative filmmaker, he definitely wanted it to be, the music to be more filmish, so more connected themes and stuff. So he went through many famous DJs and other composers, and then like, and then I was just gonna do like a few scenes here and there, like the score-ish kind of things. But then I ended up kind of basically doing about 90% of the music in the film.
Wow.
Because we came up with a theme which you could just apply all over the place. So when you watch it, you'll start to hear this same thematic material coming over in different guises. So like even if it's just like an unrelated, like just total dance number, we'll put the theme in there. And so that was really nice to do, is really challenging. And then also syncing up the dance sequences, which they had, you know, the DJs there would put together all this music. But, you know, again, it was a documentary, low budget documentary, so they couldn't afford to license that music. So I would have to create new music that was kind of like that scene to imagine, which is extremely
That seems
challenging.
so difficult to do.
It is, because, you know, they're doing like these freezes and these dance moves which are very tightly synced to the music. And so I would have to analyze exactly what the tempo was and then kind of craft something along the same lines. Or sometimes he would want something completely different.
How long would it take you to do an entire
like a dance sequence that was like, you know, a minute and a half could take you about 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, like a full day just to map out the tempo, where all the hits are and everything like that. And then and then coming up with, then filling in the structural skeleton.
I mean, it really helps that you are a perfectionist with this, because you'd have to have, if you don't have the patience, then you definitely can't do this.
Yeah, you kind of pull your hair out and go crazy.
But you still have all your hair,
yeah.
so.
Receding though, it's thinning. But, yeah, I mean, it was a great experience because you're just in this, we're in a Long Island City, in this office with no heating.
Oh.
In the middle of winter, and
cold.
They're like, we gotta finish, and we're just like cold, and it was a really fun atmosphere, but intense.
If it's so cold, like, don't your fingers all freeze up and you're not able to?
They did actually.
Like,
yeah, but you know, we just love the project. I mean, b-boying is just an amazing phenomenon.
People are crazy about musicals here in Korea, as you know. And I'm curious what some of the differences might be working on musicals here in Korea as opposed to stateside, and how is it different from film and other kinds of music?
Yeah, one of the greatest things for me working on musicals is that you're in communities with real live people. With film and commercials, I can pretty much be alone 24 hours a day for like a few months, you know, like you really don't need anyone around you. What I love about musicals is it is a collaborative community effort. You know, even though you compose something, you know, you bring it into rehearsal, the director will have something to say, the actors will make some suggestions, and you all kind of collectively bring it together and make it a better thing together, which is really, really great. I mean, that's why I'm particularly excited, because I think maybe for the last few years I was like so isolated that, you know, I was missing human contact. And, you know, I think it's the same between here in the States. I think Korean theater, there's such a ferocious appetite for it that the people who are working in it work so hard for pennies, I mean, compared to the States, you know.
That's with our staff too here.
Yeah.
I mean, we we have an amazing staff, and we all wear probably like 5 different hats.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a great energy to be around. That's why I really appreciate about the musicals I'm working on in Korea, because that kind of work ethic for me is really infectious, and I really wish I would experience that in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful, and you make real great relationships that can last, you know, for the rest of your career.
What type of genre is most interesting and fun for you to work in? Comedy, the dark side, the drama, I don't know, horror.
I tend to think of myself as a dark person, so I like.
Oh, you're wearing dark colors today.
Yes, dark colors. I like exploring that, dark, dramatic. I like horror a lot. It's actually more of a challenge to do happy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because my cheesy radar always goes off. You know, and I always want to be cool instead of cheesy, or sentimental, I should say. But you know, I embrace it all. But if I could have my choice, I'd love to do action and horror.
Really?
And dark, like Black Swan type of movies. You know, I like twisted things.
Yeah.
I like things that explore kind of the ugliness of stuff, and then trying to put some beauty in there as well. You know, so yeah, those are kind of my favorite projects to do. But you know, I think the great thing about music is that it can express so many things, and it's always a challenge. And every project is like I'm learning something, and that's why I feel like I can do this for the rest of my life. Like, because I feel like there's always something new I learn with every project, and I don't think I can ever get bored. If I get bored, then I'm fooling myself. Yeah.
With all of your work as a composer and a musical director, you still manage to make a couple of CDs.
Right.
Where do you find the time?
I don't know. Yeah, Mood Spheres was somewhat a compilation of some of the film scores I did, and then a couple new pieces. And I am one big kind of composerly project I'm engaged in right now with a wonderful artist named Kang Eun-il and Hagen Plus. We're going to do my version of the Four Seasons. We call it Sage.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so it's kind of with a kind of Korean twist.
Nice.
With her group, and we're getting a really great director, Nam Inu, involved to kind of inform me about some of the mythologies and things that are uniquely Korean about the Four Seasons.
That's fantastic. So you get a little bit of a Korean mythology lesson.
Yeah.
While you do this.
I mean, because when I started doing my extended stays, I was like, there's real seasons here, not like LA, which is like 1.5 seasons.
Yeah.
And we want to perform this December, 2012.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
So I'll definitely let you know. Bring the
Yeah.
crew out, you know. But yeah, that's going to be a really exciting project. And I feel like balancing all these sort of commercial, film, musicals, and then just having something that's pure music, I'm very excited about. I feel like that's when I really pinch myself. Is like, wow, just my life is just about writing music, you know. And
do you wake up and pinch yourself in the morning? And you're
I
like,
do a little bit.
Is this my real life?
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm really released a lot of the former business sort of obligations that I've had, and I'm able to look at myself in a really, just like, hey, I'm an artist, I'm a composer.
Yep.
That's all I need to do. It's really wonderful. I feel like I've kind of discovered myself all over again.
It's never too late.
No, it's never too late. No, 40s are the new 20s.
Yes, yeah. As a classical guitarist, do you practice a lot these days?
No.
Now, there was at one time that you wanted to go into like heavy metal rock. Would you still consider doing something like that?
For fun, definitely.
Yeah.
Find a bunch of friends who would play with me and we just kind of jam or rock out. But definitely just as a fun thing. I mean, that's just being a performer, a live performer of any kind is a real commitment. And I would just entertain the idea of, you know, having a good time and entertaining people. That's still, I still would love to do that and just rock out, but it's a whole different kind of work.
Would you be able to work some of that into one of the musicals, or?
Maybe. Well, you know, when I did Making Tracks, I was in the band that played, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But I do miss performing a little bit, but now maybe I'll just help my daughter and her band.
Yes. Woody, it's been just so fun to hear all about your work, all about your life. I would like to thank you so much for being on the interview. It's been a pleasure to have you here. You've been an amazing guest and so frank, so honest, and I appreciate the candor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I look forward to hearing a lot more about you through the media and also attending some of your musicals to come. Just make sure you do move to Korea.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I'd love to be able
Working
to
on that, yeah.
have someone like you be here, and hopefully more of the work that you do will really go international, and you'll be the Woody Pak that everyone knows.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.